Well, good evening, folks, and welcome to BocaWatch. I'm Al Zuccaro. I'm the publisher of the BocaWatch blog, and I am the interviewer of our show here tonight. Tonight, I want to thank my guest, James Hendrey, for coming. James is going to give us a little bit of the background with regards to what is taking place in Boca Raton today and the waterfront redevelopment, particularly a petition by the citizens for a referendum which will be voted on November 8th that could alter the course of the waterfront history in the city of Boca Raton. And thank you for coming today, first of all.
My pleasure. Thank you, Al.
You have been incredibly active over the last, 6 months, year, with your participation in government and with your participation particularly in this referendum process to get the city to not commercialize or develop the green space along the intercoastal. And you've taken this to heights that most people don't get to. But by way of background, maybe you could give us some purpose that you are trying to fulfill in the efforts that you're making with this petition referendum to preserve the waterfront properties in the city of Boca Raton.
Well, thanks. That's really a good question, because I think what it really has to do with is citizens becoming more active in their community. My wife Nancy and I got interested in the whole process when we were seeing that it seemed as though the citizens were not made part of the process of being able to contribute and genuinely give their creativity and force to how our community would develop. That a certain group of people, be it the city council or other groups within the city, would decide what they wanted for the city, and that the citizens themselves were not really taken into account with regard to what they might want for the city, all 90,000 such residents. So the thing that really sparked their interest was when one of the council people told us, when asked, would you be willing to support the community if they voted for, would you help them make a vote for, in this case, the use of the property on the intercoastal waterway such that it would be retained for recreation and boating? And that council person said, no, I would not support the citizens in their right to vote. That lit the fuse under me, for sure. And so truly based on that, the subject matter was really important, the use of the intercoastal properties, city-owned properties.
I actually remember that night, and I remember that comment. You were the moderator that night.
Yes, I happened to be.
The charter allows for citizens to have an active participation, and you are acting under the power of the charter to bring this referendum forward. How did that process take place? How did citizens get involved? And give us a little bit of an overview as to the enthusiasm that you reached or you experienced in accomplishing that.
Well, actually, I can't lay claim to any of just about anything you said. I may have the genuine energy, make no mistake, but it really falls on those other people in the community that have experience in trying to bring efforts forward to the city and to the city government. And what they did is they really facilitated the whole process. They knew, first of all, as you just said, the city charter and how the city charter works, and that we, under the city charter, had the opportunity to bring forth the proper number of signatures with an idea that would be a proposed ordinance. And they showed me, my neighbors, Jim and Trish Wood and George and Andrea O'Rourke and Al here, showed us how we needed to be active in order to get our point across. And so we took the bull they handed us by the horns, and we got it done thanks to them and the many other citizens that participated in our effort.
Now, you got it done during the summer months, which is traditionally the non-season here in Boca Raton. And you had an overwhelming amount of response. How many signatures did you gather?
Well, we needed roughly 1,267.
Roughly.
And we ended up getting 2,067 in the 1st of May. We did it in 28 days, and everybody says, gee, that's really phenomenal, but it was just taking persistence on the part of 70 other people. We didn't do this alone. There were a vast number of people there helping us make this accomplishment.
So this is truly a community effort.
Oh yeah, very much.
Any elected official needs to be paying attention to what's going on with this.
Well, if nothing else, this shows this. We know Councilman Singer has been very active in being able to have meetings where he invites the public in so that he can really hear what they have to say. Other than Councilman Rogers, to my knowledge, over the last couple of years, nobody else has really done that unless forced to do so. And one of the other council people we put in a position where
Had to.
we helped him have a meeting that he did not want to have. We kind of put him in a position where he had to have it. So the idea is, and here's the background. Our biggest issue in any community is apathy on the part of the people. If we see something that we feel is important to get across, talk to your neighbors, see what their feelings are. If you find that there's genuinely in your community a need for something or a want or a direction, you need to get active and partake in it. And that was really what instilled in us this idea to bring this effort forward of Ordinance 5356.
So without getting too far into the weeds, the Ordinance 5356 is on the ballot for November 8th during the primary election. The effort now is to get the vote out to vote yes for Ordinance 5356. I'm sure you have plans over the next 6 weeks to make that happen.
Oh, we really do. And we put together, because of our background, my background happens to be in advertising and that, we've gone backed up and we've tried to see what the meaningful date issues are, a PERT chart with regard to now on November 8th. And thanks to BocaWatch and thanks to the other people in the community, i.e. Councilman Singer's effort, we tried to bring the city citizens together and understand that we have to vote. It's our chance to say, what do we want for ourselves? So that's the way the whole process works, and we are gearing up for the election on the 8th.
Now, you said that you had 80 signature gatherers working with you to accomplish this over the 28-day period of time. That is an incredible demonstration of people participation and should carry over into future elections.
Well, no, I apologize. That was part of your question ahead of time, or just now. But yeah, I think that the politicians in town have to understand that we, the people, and they, as our elected officials, need to work together. It's a harmonious thing. It's not should not be a one-sided effort. And as it relates to the Wildflowers property that was purchased 7 years ago, there was an effort made on the part of the city government and other community effort, other citizen groups, business groups in the city. They had it in their mind that they wanted to see a restaurant and nothing more. And so finally, when the citizens found out that there is an opportunity to make something wonderful and for the people and over time a long-lasting effort, that's what also was a huge initiative. So politicians need to listen up. The people have finally got the idea that if we work together with them, we'd like to work with them, we together as a community can make it happen. It cannot be one-sided.
Well, I thank you very much for participating, and I know that you have a lot of energy invested in this project, so I commend you for that. You mentioned a couple of other people. You mentioned Jim Wood and Trish Wood, and you mentioned Andrea and George O'Rourke. Could you give us a little bit of how all six of you gel together?
I think it's a common interest thing. It's one of those things, maybe call it birds of a feather or whatever you want to say to it. We're frustrated citizens who feel that we have more to offer our community. Remember this, with the likes of us and even Mr. Zuccaro here, we get nothing, zero, from our participation in what we do to try to make Boca Raton a better place. You have to ask yourself, what about the other side? The other side, they profit. They profit by getting bigger buildings and getting more rent. They profit by all kinds of tax breaks. They do all kinds of things in order to make it profitable for them. We get no profit out of it. We just want to see that Boca Raton is a wonderful place. So our motives are totally, totally different. But our other motive is what we see going on in town. Hey, by any stretch of the imagination, it isn't right. It's improper. And we're trying to change that, and hopefully our elected officials will say, you know what, we'd better step up and do a better job working with the citizens to figure out what's right for Boca Raton.
Sounds like the birth of a politician, if I ever heard one.
Not a chance.
Thank you very much for coming in today.
Got it. Thanks, Al. Appreciate it.